We're back. Wednesday, first Wednesday edition of You Can't Do That on Salesforce. Trying out some new tech, getting a new project into the loop, and generally causing trouble. Using Restream to see if I can get the stream onto a couple more channels, and just kind of seeing how this whole thing works. So hopefully you can see me and you can hear me. I should probably do a little mic check on this before we get started, barring any potential feedback that we might get. Where'd my phone go? Let me go grab 1 second. Let me grab a phone. All right, here we are. We are back. That's yesterday's stream coming through. Let's see if today's stream is coming up on Twitch through Restream. It is. Yeah, hey, look at that. All right, cool. That's a thing. That's working. Checking a little audio here. Hold tight. Still a little bit of delay on the audio from yesterday. Trying to figure out what's up with that, but that's okay. I'm gonna tweak the delay just one more time here. We're already like way up at looking, so let's try 1700. Maybe it'll finally catch up, and eventually I'll figure out how to use my computer. There we go. All right, we're jamming. So maybe, hopefully, we don't run into any excitement here with this new tech that I'm rolling with. So this is Restream pushing to, well, just to Twitch for right now, but we'll get this going on a couple different, hopefully YouTube and maybe LinkedIn at some point. But see if I can hit a few more people, do some wacky stuff for more viewing pleasure. But tonight we are going to build some rock, paper, scissors. Yes, that is the new jam for the channel, and I like games. I found out making games is a lot of fun. It's good excuses to talk and hang out and come up and make problems for ourselves. Monopoly, Forceopoly, I should say, trademark, is a challenge for sure. And as we'll see again tomorrow, that we still have more work to do on the logic around that. So I felt like rock paper scissors might be a good distraction, for those who want to tune into that versus Monopoly. I still think we're going to have some game logic to figure out, and we're going to have some some rules to keep track of, etc. So we probably should kick this off with let's get a repo stood up, and let's get a project going in Visual Studio, and let's get a scratch org together, and let's see if I can actually get logged into everything that I need to here. Find my logins. Where are you? Maybe I'll make this off screen just because I don't know about y'all, but I have 27 Google accounts now, and thank goodness for this new feature that lets you have multiple profiles. Because wow, it's definitely proven to be a lifesaver for between work and other work and other work and other work. It's been super duper helpful. I just need to find my login for. Nope, that's not it. So the stream is, kind of chill. I don't have a script when I run these. I just kind of pop in and start doing work, and if we come up with lame brain ideas or make bad decisions, that's just kind of how it works. But I'm only going to give this another minute to see if I can find my creds. In fact, maybe we don't really need to do that right now. Let's see if we can just get a project going here. Rock, paper, scissors, RPS. Let's go with that. Sometimes I wonder if I've already started building something, but in this case, nope. Let's get a scratch org up. Maybe. Oh, initialized. Let's see, is SFDX gonna... There we go. Create scratch org. Yeah, I got another project whose scratch org is gonna expire, but that's okay. RPS. Okay. As long as possible, we want the scratch org around for. Stream was slow yesterday. I must have been having some bandwidth issues or something. Hopefully it's a little faster for us today. I'm gonna get my giant head shrunk down on the stream here so y'all can, see stuff besides my giant head. There we go. I'm shrinking. So let's think about rock, paper, scissors. What is rock, paper, scissors? It's a game. It is a game between two people. Just writing some thoughts down here. So it's a game between two people, and it is actually let's fire this up in the README. I always like to shove my random stream of consciousness thoughts into the README, so we have it for posterity. So we'll start a little backlog for ourselves here. So what if I can make the font bigger? A little bigger, okay. So rock, paper, scissors, what are the rules? Well, let's see. Rock beats scissors. Right? Rock breaks scissors. Paper covers rock, and scissors is hard to spell. Scissors cut paper, right? So I think these are like, call these the moves, right? So well, let's back up a little bit. The moves are these are more like the outcomes, right? We need to track who beats who, which we'll come back to. We need to track the moves themselves, right? What can a player possibly do in this game? They can play rock, they can play paper, and they can play scissors. And I know there's some other variations of rock, paper, scissors that we could add to this at some point, so maybe we'll try to anticipate some future growth, future features. What is there? Lizard Spock, I think that's one. I'm sure there's others I haven't heard of. We'll see what we find out in the internet once we get this engine kind of rolling. So I think it's important to know. It's going to be important for the system to know what moves can a player make, which means we probably need a player object that we would, I think, associate some lookup to a user. Pretty standard stuff. We do that a lot in the apps that we've been building lately. Forceopoly has a player. Inefficient icon inventory. It doesn't have a player, but it's definitely turning into like a participant model, because we need to understand state of the icon and the pixels that are being edited. But that's on Tuesdays, and Forceopoly's on Thursdays. So today we'll talk about, since we're talking about RPS, we still need a player. We need some concept around that. A player is gonna probably make a move, right? And we need something that represents an interaction between two players. So a game, I guess we'll call that. We got a player, another player, and then we have to decide where does the move live in those cases. Just closing the window here. It's like hot and then it's cold. And then it's hot and then it's cold. So let's see. We'll have to think about where does the move live. Maybe it's part of the game. I was also thinking, like, maybe we can talk in terms of, I'll say a la tennis, right? So what if we wanted to have like a tournament, right? That might be kind of cool. We could have games. Is that how does tennis work? Game, set, match. I might have to figure something out about that, and then what do you have? You have rounds, right? In a tournament, so you need rounds or brackets. That's probably gonna that's some higher order stuff that we would need this game to do. I think some other, so this is sort of thinking about objects, right? So let's call this object model. I'll put the backlog down a little further. So what else would we need? We would think one thing that's important is like privacy, right? So like you can't snoop on your opponent's play, right? So that's going to affect our data model because we need some way to make the move of one of each player sort of anonymous in the system until it's time to reveal it. And that whole revealing aspect may also need some some kind of trigger point. We need to, as with most of these things, I think asynchronous is something that we have to keep in mind. Imagine, if you will, that people are going to just be so wowed and want to play so much rock paper scissors in Salesforce that they could be playing multiple games or having multiple tournaments or replacing their round robin sales assignment process with rock paper scissors in a very auditable way. I think I'm going to add that word too. I'm always into auditable, not because like the government's going to come and ask for this, but I think it's cool to have as much data lying around as we can to get some intel on stuff. Like it might be kind of neat to see who makes what move how often, right? And if we have the data set up the right way, we can see that fairly easily. So I'll say auditable is is another kind of, this is really turning into requirements, right? Asynchronous because the games aren't going to happen in real time, most likely. Although we're doing that over on icon inventory, and we might be able to take some pages out of that to make it synchronous. Auditable because we want to see the history, the paper trail of games and what moves people play and what games they've been involved with or who they've been competing with. Privacy because we don't want people to be able to find out what the other person played in a game of rock paper scissors. And what else do we need to think about? I'm sure more will come up, and we'll pile them in here as time goes on. So let's start there. We'll start with that. I think that's good. And we got some building to do. I had a shower thought earlier today that I have this pattern of building out these apps when we're on the show, and it might be kind of cool to have some kind of like bootstrapping script that does a lot of the stuff that I end up doing. I mean, you've seen my pattern. It's like I'm going to go through it right now. We're going to build an app. We're going to configure an app. We're going to configure some objects. We're not going to apply any of those objects to profiles. We will apply them to permission sets, which is a sweet new feature coming in Winter 13 that I'm super excited about because I won't have to bounce around the UI to, I haven't seen it in action, but the release notes say you'll be able to assign field level security to permission sets as well as profiles in the setup of a field. So really excited about that. And then we create some objects, we create some tabs, we create this and that. It would be kind of cool to just like maybe make some kind of YAML file that you could boop all that stuff in, and then the tooling API goes and creates, or even just the metadata API goes and creates a bunch of stuff off the bat. Because it'll save me some time. You're going to see the manual process here for probably 15 minutes as we get some things stood up, and I'm just kind of like, bleh. It's fine. It's good to go through it. It's good for somebody to see it, but I don't think it's not the funnest thing to do every time. And frankly, I just didn't have time to do it beforehand, and I don't know. I'm kind of torn about showing you guys versus not showing you guys that stuff. So we're going to show you. So our Scratch org is finally created. So let's go hop in there. This will have a GitHub repository at some point. I thought I could just add it from, we can just publish it from here. So let's do that. Let's publish to GitHub. We're going to publish to a public repository, RPS. There. Okay, good. Now that should be out there. Yahoo! There we go. Nothing in it yet. Probably stuff that doesn't even belong in it, but that's cool. We'll just we'll start there. Do a little cleanup if we need to. Meanwhile, here's our app or our org. I like to start with the app manager. Let's give this thing a name. RPS is good. It's rock, paper, scissors. Make a logo, something sometime. We don't have anything to add yet. We'll come back to that. We're not going to assign this to any profiles because we'll do that with permission set, which is where I'm going to head over to next. Very methodical. I do this every time. I usually start. Now I know privacy is going to matter, but I do want to create a RPS administrator account so we can see everything to start. We may scale this back because poor admins just might not be able to participate if they can see all the data. But for now, we'll keep it kind of wide open, and then we'll scale this back as time goes on. So there we go. Now there's nothing else. There's nothing else to show for this right now. So let's go back to our requirements here. We need a player. We need a game. Let's start with moves. We need moves. I think we need outcomes. We need to be able to tell the system what the rules are somehow. So let's start breaking this down. We're going to create a move object. Let's probably don't need field history tracking on it, but why not? And we do want to make that's going to be like a lookup or a dictionary object, so we want it to be accessible. So let's create a tab for that. I'm probably going to have 3 objects ever in it. I guess you could argue that this is maybe better as custom metadata, but if you wanted to configure your own moves and outcomes, this might open the door for that. So what's a good move? Wrong game, but let's use chess piece. Oh, we could build chess on. Oh man, now I'm really getting. If you thought for Monopoly was hard, I think that would be chess would be quite difficult. Okay, so this is the part where I'm waiting, for Winter 23 to kick in, because I would hope that I'd be able to pick permission sets here. I would love to add this, what I just created, to that permission set, but it's not there yet, so I'm going to bounce between my permission set. I usually actually just keep it open in a new tab while we do work, and then we can keep referencing it. But I'm not going to assign this to any. I'm not going to assign this to any profiles. I'm not going to assign this to any. Actually, I will assign this to the RPS app because I'm creating a new tab. And I think I push save. Yep. Okay. So we'll jump back over to our permission sets and add this. Let's also assign this to our Scratch org user. I forget to do that all the time, and then we don't know. We can't see the app. I wonder why. There we go. And back to the permission set itself. Start piling on. Hey, where'd you go? Start piling on some permissions, the stuff that we're creating. All right. We just create a move object. Moves. The other nice thing too is if we kind of keep the live with an admin account for as long as we can, the data model will eventually start settling down, and then we can just clone the admin permission set and take away what we don't want accessible to everybody. So for now, I'm going to open this, make this wide open. And then I just want to check that this is actually showing up. So I have the app. Do I have the tab? I don't. What is, let's see. This is because of a reason. I think I have to go back into the app and actually add it to the Lightning app as a tab. I don't know why. I don't know why you have to do that twice. Let's go back in here and edit this. It's weird because my permission set has access to it, but it is not in the navigation item. So it's I forget that checkbox when you're creating the object doesn't care at all about. We can search for this and make life a little easier. Doesn't care at all about it being added in navigation. So I'll have to come back in here a couple more times. Hopefully this is showing up now. Cool. There's our moves. Let's bang these in real quick because this is super complicated. Rock, paper, and scissors. There we go. And I don't think we'll have to be back in here again, but we'll come back if we need to. So I've got those all squared away, so great. That's just objects with, we'll use those for lookups. More importantly, we'll be able to use those for outcomes. So I think we'll create that object next. Let's see, the outcome object describes the winning and losing moves between, I should say the winning and losing results between moves. There we go. So we need some way for this to tell us that rock breaks scissors, right? That's kind of so I think the outcome is maybe winner, loser, lookups to moves, and then maybe we can use the name as just what we said, right? Rock breaks scissors. I'm never gonna get that right. So that'll be we'll use that as the name for now. And then if we want to come up with some cheekier things like a victory animation or a defeat animation, we can come up with silly stuff for that. We'll use the icon inventory to build those, right? Right. Okay, let's get this object created. And let's add some fields here. Let's add a winner. I guess it could be master detail, right? There's absolutely no reason. These are the rules of the game, so there's no reason why people shouldn't be able to see this. And also, you really shouldn't have one of these records if you don't have a winner and a loser associated with it. Now let's see. Yeah, these will be related to this is going to be a two-side. So that's the fun part, right? We have we can't have two. We can't do a master detail because we can't have two of the same object lookup. I can't have two moves that are master detail to the outcome. So let's not do this as a master detail. We'll just do this as lookups for now. We'll call this one the winner. And let's call this winning outcomes. Nothing here. Put that on the layout. Winning outcomes, and we'll make a new one. Look up to the other move. Call this the loser. Call this losing outcomes. Probably should, well, they should be required. We probably should not allow deletion. And we will put that on the layout as well. And we'll say these are the losing outcomes. And sometimes I get the logic, the naming logic backwards on the related list. So we'll see if we got those right. Okay, we got to put this in permission sets no matter what. And out comes boop. Check this, and then we can go add one of these to the scissors. So now we should have two lookups on scissors. Winning outcomes, losing outcomes. So scissors wins when scissors wins, the loser is paper, right? So the outcome name is scissors cuts paper. Okay, the losing outcome, scissors loses when rock breaks scissors. Okay. All right, so we took care of scissors. Now let's take a look at paper. Paper should already have a losing outcome. Its winning outcome is paper covers rock. So the loser is rock. Okay, and then rock is done because we got them all covered. Okay, so we have, what is that, 6 outcomes total, 3 winning, 3 winning conditions, 3 losing conditions because we have 3 moves. So if we were to take a look at the lizard Spock or other variants, then we would we'd see some other outcomes there. We'd have probably multiple. There's some magic permutation mojo happening here that I'm not going to do the math on, but something's happening. We add more. We're going to have more arrows pointed at each other. Okay, we got outcomes. Let's see. Outcomes is done. So we figured out a model for that. Outcomes done. Moves done. We are just killing our requirements here. It's awesome. We need a player, so let's get that squared away here. Whoops, real quick. Can't do anything without that. I guess the question is, let's think about the player. How long-lived is that record? Because you could say, hey, every user has a player record, just one, that lets them play rock, paper, scissors. If we play a game, we can understand the two players, we can understand their moves. Or you can't do that on the Salesforce form. That we should make this as complicated as possible, and have a player be an instance within each game. That's very a la Forceopoly. It makes a heck of a lot more sense in Forceopoly because we have way more state to manage. But I think that model gives us more flexibility to see plays over time if we have a player makes a move in a game, right? So we need a game object. Players can look up to the game. Players can look up to the move that they make in that game, and a game is like 1, 2, 3, shoot, right? That's it. That was a game of rock, paper, scissors. So we can encapsulate all of that as that was a game. Two players. Each player made a move. One of them was a winner, and one of them was the loser. Can we determine that even from the outcome, just by them? The game can determine the winner, which could then be a lookup to the player that won and the player that lost. Let's see. Let's build it out. We'll go that route. We'll make a player object. I'm not going to name the player. I'm just going to call it player. Because there's going to be a lot of these records. We do want these to be reportable. We're not going to create... We don't need a tab because we're not going to be creating them. We'll probably have a function on the game it's only... I think you only ever play with 2 players, right? I don't know if there's... But if you didn't, we can support multiple players, 2 or more players per game. It's one to many in this model we're about to conjure up here. Make sure there's no... I feel like there's audio playing somewhere here. Maybe not. It's the sound of nature. That's what I'm hearing. All right, we got our player. We should look up to a user, right? Can't help but feel like this player game model has some... I'm definitely taking pages out of Forceopoly here, and it feels like a consistent pattern is emerging. Again, whether or not we should be making games on Salesforce is another question, but I think we should. I think it's fun. I think they're really relatable. We get to talk about technology in the context of something that's familiar to everyone. All right, these player records are also going to look up to a move. So every player makes a move. We need to create a game object, and that game object's responsibility is probably to make sure, well, you can, so we'll have to talk about ties, right? Like, I think whenever you tie, that's like a game. Like, you played it, and now you're done. And then you try, if it's a tie, you play again. You keep going until you win. In tennis, right, you can do that. Like, if a set can a set be tied? No, they always tie break. A game certainly can't be tied, but it can keep going, right? They can even up the score, and then, I forget what they call it, deuce or whatever that is. So there's multiple rounds of those games, so I think we can we can do that. All right. So we have a player object now. We need a game object. And then we have a whole bunch of work to do on our permission set to get those. There's going to be a lot of games, so we'll just auto number. Let's see. We do want to report. I don't know if games probably make sense to have a tab. We could do some stuff on that tab to look at games across the landscape and stuff. Also, we just need somebody to get into it, because I don't think we're going to get the whole tournament model designed out here in the next 73 minutes. So we'll see what we can do here in the meantime. So a game, let's pick something for this. Trophy, sure. I still want to see if this will work. Give me the tab in the app manager. Come on, do it. Maybe it'll just magically do it this time for no good reason. All right, the game. Not much for the game yet. We're going to come back to the game, but the player object needs a lookup to the game. I'm going to do lookup here because, so I'm trying to think about privacy a little bit, right? Each player needs to know about the game that they're playing. They need to know they need to know their move. They need to know their own move until both players have made a move, and then the game can, and then the other player's move can open up to, for the result. Question is, how do we have to, it's a sharing question, right? They both need access to the game so that they know the game that they're in. They need to know the other player's play after every player has made their play. That might beg the question around, like, how do we calculate the winner? That may be something that I don't know if we can get away with it in a formula situation because of context. Well, it would be great if we could do it in a formula. It'd be great to, although it might not be great to do it in a formula because the rules, we really should just look to our rules engine. We should look to our outcomes to decide that. And the game should probably have a lookup to outcome, right? It's a what was the winning result, and then who was the winner, who was the loser, maybe a couple extra lookups in that direction. Or maybe that's a field on the player, that's a status, right? We could say winner, and a status is pending, played, winner, loser. So let's get a lookup on here first, and maybe those statuses work out for what we're trying to achieve here. So we'll do a lookup to the game. players in the game. Did I click next? I did click next. I think I clicked next. It's also interesting because you do want to know who you're playing against. So there may also, we may need to apply like some context, right? Perhaps the only way to know who you're playing against, well, that would be tricky. We may need like a player move object. So we can use that as the security point to say, I know who I'm playing. I know their status. I know that they have made their move. I haven't made my move yet, so the system isn't telling me what the outcome is. But I don't want to know their move yet. I want the move to be a private, or I want the player's move to be private until it's time to share it. I think we're going to need another object in between there to make that happen. If I just have a look at, wow, there's like sunlight blazing right through the window into my eyeballs right now. I'm going to duck over here. If I'm looking up to the move, I'm going to have to, like, that's it. The other player is showing their hand, and I as another player could go find the record and see, oh yeah, you made your move. I can't apply security on this field conditionally because we got a bunch of player records out there, but I could apply security discreetly to a player move record and hold on to that until it's time to share it with the user, or have them roll up to the game or something like that. So feel like we're gonna need a little more than we're gonna need one more object here between the player and the game, or the player and the move. Sorry. So we need a junction. I think that's where our security point will be managed. Okay. So let's first things first. Let's go through some of our objects here and make sure that we have them accounted for. This may even need to just be refreshed because we've created so much stuff in the meantime. Alright, there's players. I think we created games. And did we do anything to moves? Let's see. Moves is good. How about outcomes? Outcomes is good. Okay, so we're all caught up there. So I think I'm going to do this. Let's do this player move thing. This is, again, similar to Forceopoly. Wow, that sun is crazy bright. Similar to Forceopoly, where a player move is like an instance of a player making a move in the game. So let's create that. I think that's going to give us more flexibility to keep the move private until it's time to reveal it as a result of the of who plays what. Alright, so we'll call that PM. Yes, we want to report on it. I don't think we care about searching. We don't need a tab for that. So this will just be a junction between the player and the move. Now, again, security-wise, I don't want to use master detail because I don't want it seems reasonable for the player to know, for each player to know who they're playing against. So we would have to share that in the as part of the game. We don't want to share this right away. We want this to be private to each player to create this record with whatever they want their move to be. The move beyond that, the move that they're associating with is public because everybody needs to know that their move, what available moves there are to them. So we want to keep this lookup. I haven't touched sharing yet. We will go in and do some of that in a minute. So this is a player. This is the player's moves. Which they're only ever going to have one. So that's the other, the thing with this junction is it's not like you're going to have 6 of these on a player object. Should just be one. Maybe there's a case for having more of them, but I can't see it. All right, so there's our player lookup. Hey, gallon cooler. We're making rock, paper, scissors. Thanks for joining the fun. Let's see. We'll make the... Now, can we... No, I don't want to do master detail on the other side because that would also expose this object inadvertently to all those who are playing. We're going to call this... The other one was player moves. We'll call this move players. These lookups are useless. They're not. We probably. I'm going to go back and update the layouts because they shouldn't even be there. That's not the intent of the. The intent of this junction is to just be like a one-to-one junction, so that we can manage security on it. Okay. Let's refresh our permission set. And we've got player moves. So again, for our admin permission set, we want to see everything so we can get the gears turning on this, and then we'll lock it down so people can't snoop on each other's moves. All right, what do we got? We got a game. I wouldn't say this is done, but we have the base concept in place. I feel like we have stuff now, so we can kind of slow-mo through, put this a la tennis business down further in our requirements backlog. We should add another user to this Scratch org, so we can have two comparisons. So I will do that by attempting to remember the commands. I did this yesterday, and I'll try to find my terminal. I confess I have very little of the Salesforce or the SFDX CLI memorized. Basically none of it. So we'll We'll create a second user here. See if we can get all this right. Come on, terminal, wake up. So let's make a new user in this org. And then I got to give it a password too. Generate password, target username. Do that, and then grab this. Yeah. All right, there's the password for the whole world to see. Yeah, come in and break my Scratch org if you want. It'll only be available for 30 days. Let's see. So now we can log in as this user and make sure that it actually. I got to do the whole fun. I guess I don't really even need to log in as this user. I just want to make sure that it's here, because we're gonna slow-mo through this process a second. Wait, its name is not a user too. It's just plain old user, I think. Yep, we got user and user and user. So I always forget. I run into problems when I edit the user like this in a Scratch org, but I'm gonna try it. So let's say this is, this is U2, and maybe we can get away with not touching anything else. Come on, let me update it. Yay! Okay. Just so I don't get totally lost here. Can I also update my user? There's a lot of users. Let's call this U1, U1, U1. Yes, okay. Groovy. So, what does this look like? Let's go back to I think I've got the RPS app up in here somewhere. Oh, Galen, good question. Galen asks, on the stream, do you typically use only declarative tools, or do you write code as well? Yes. I try to push the flow as far as humanly possible, but we also flip over to some code, usually in the context of writing like Lightning Web Components to build custom user experience. So they'll end up probably being some Apex code behind that. On the Tuesday stream, when we build this icon generator app, there's more code to that because we're doing some things. Well, not a ton really. There's still flow and code in that one, but trying to lean as much as possible on the low code philosophy and flow wherever we can. I'm saying this as a dude that has been a developer my whole life and was indoctrinated on the Salesforce platform, right around the time Apex came around. So I've slung me a lot of code, and I'm trying to retool myself around some flow kindness and use it wherever possible. So I'm hoping that for rock paper scissors we can do a lot of the game logic as flow, triggered off of some events, records getting created or stuff like that. In the Forceopoly stream that I do on Thursdays, I'm trying real hard to use flow for all of the business logic, or I guess I should say game logic in Forceopoly, which is basically a Monopoly clone on Salesforce. And that's been an interesting challenge. Look, we're building a lot of subflows. Let's put it that way, because you can imagine if you start thinking through the logic of Monopoly, the game logic gets really, really complicated and really conditional, and a lot of different paths that it can follow. So that was a really long answer to your short question. So to answer short, yes, both. More flow than code, but we will sling some code when we do some LWC and stuff. I could see us like we're gonna make some components to render like a game between two people in rock paper scissors. So more to come. I don't know if we'll get that far in the next hour, but we'll see how we do. All right, let's slow play some of this data. So I'm gonna kind of step through a game in like super slow-mo mode here. So we imagine two people in a Salesforce org want to play rock paper scissors. Somehow what I'm doing here will become a more approachable experience. Could maybe happen in Slack. That would be kind of cool. So the game, when it's first created, it doesn't know anything, right? It needs to know its players. So I'm going to pick U1 and U2 to be players here. Now this we have to fix this. This is wrong. We need the player move here instead of just the move. We'll come back and fix that. But we'll set this up as if, all right, the robots are working. It just created a game. It just identified U1 is one of the players, and then U2 is the other player, and boom, I've got two people ready to play rock paper scissors, but they haven't made their moves yet. So let's go back to our player object, and instead of, we're going to get rid of this move, because if we had that, we would have to expose it to our players, and then you could snoop on each other and figure out what the other person played. Don't want to do that. Instead, we're going to have a player move. Here we go. This is where our security will kick in, and yeah, player move, child relationship players. Child relationship is probably never going to matter in this case. We just want to have a junction here. Take away all our permissions. We'll do that in the permission set. Okay, cool. Let's go back to our permission set and make sure that these are actually, so we have access to this field. Oh wait, not player. Yes, player. So player move here. Okay, gonna grant that. Now, as this admin profile goes, I can see everything. I am going to take a detour over to the sharing settings, and let's turn some things way down because that's the right thing to do. Least privilege, boys and girls. Where the heck are my objects? Here they are. Player move private, player private. No, that's wrong. Player private. Moves should be public, at least read only, so everybody can see all the moves that they can play. Games, we'll start with private. I guess I don't know how sensitive a game of rock paper scissors is, but if you don't want your boss knowing how much you're kicking your coworkers' butts in rock paper scissors, maybe there's a story behind that. Move public read only makes sense. We don't want everybody inventing new moves. That would not be good. Outcomes should also be public read only because everybody should know the rules of the game. Again, the outcome tells us when does rock win and when does rock lose. Player, right along with the game for now, and player move we do want to keep private until it's time. So the only things that could change here is to say, do you want everybody to see every game? Yes. If so, make this public read only. And do you want everybody to see every player of every game? If yes, make that public read only also. we'll just start with really, I'm applying least privilege on my sharing settings, but I've got a permission set that opens it all back up again as an administrator for the short term. So self-defeating prophecy or something like that. Let's see if this got updated. Still cooking. Okay. So back to our first ever game in our org here. I've got 2 players. Probably would be nice to have some page layout updates here so I could actually see who the users are associated with each of these players, but that's okay. I have the player move here now instead of the player or the move itself. So this is something that would be, it's a little awkward to come in here and say like, oops, hey, let's make a new player move right off the bat. Let me make sure I can actually see this field. So here's a clunky. This is not UI that we want to embrace. I as user 1 am going to play rock. So let me make a new player move here, and I'm surprised it didn't actually fill this in for us. No results. What? Oh, because we don't know to actually play, right? Yeah. I, player 1, I think that's, yep, am going to play rock. And that's my move. Now, when we apply security to this, let's go back to our game, and let's make player 2's move. I definitely want to put some indulge me for a moment. We're going to put some let's put a few more fields out here on the game's related list of players. Here's our players. Let's add the user on here. I'm going to add the player move. We're not going to see it, yet. Make this a little easier to interpret. That's a little better. Okay. So, got the 2 players. They're related to 2 different users. Let's make a move on let's say now the second player is going to play they'll play scissors. I put too many zeros in there, probably. Yep. Okay. So their move will be scissors. Okay, so I've got 2 players. They've both made a move, and I can see all this because I'm an administrator, and we need to see it, right? We need to see it kind of in play. Earlier on we were talking about, hey, what's a good stat? We need something to indicate like what's the state of this game, right? And probably want to start with what's the state of each player. So I would propose we create a status on the player object. And I think there's 4 outcomes or 4 possible options for that. So I think as soon as a game gets created, the player's status is pending, right? Meaning they haven't moved yet, or they haven't played. And then the second status would be played, and then the third and fourth status would be winner and loser, because or tie. I guess that's a fifth outcome, or fifth status that they could have. So let's make a new field. Call the status. So it's pending. We'll use the first one as our default. Played, winner, loser, tie. We'll see how those hold up as time goes on. Excuse me. I want to see that status. Again, let's go back to our permissions set and make sure we have access to that field. Cannot wait for winner 23 when that just allow you to do that right on the field configuration. So that's going to be our player. I think it's fair for each player to see the status of the other one, right? At least know that they've made their move or not. Even though we don't want to reveal what their move was until both have made a move. We might be able to build a ton of suspense, too, in the game by, tune in Friday to see if Bill or Barb won their game of rock, paper, scissors. Right. Okay, back to the game here. I'm gonna come in and update the status of each of these because we should have access to that now. So in this, if when we first made the game, both of them would have had pending. They've both since played, so this status should now move to played. There we go. So I'm going to add that status actually to the page layout. It's probably useful to see. And I think there's player level status, and then there's some game state that we want to track too. So let's put status out there for now. We probably could show their move here at some point as well. Galen, yes. Galen says, it'd be great if you could tie this into the lead or opportunity queue mechanism to determine which sales reps get assigned high value leads and ops. I was talking to myself at the start of the stream, and it was like, I guess you could do like round robin lead assignment with this, right? Like, hey, sales team, it's Monday. Let's rock paper scissors for the new incoming leads. I'm sure that would be, who knows? Maybe that's really just the best way to do lead assignment. You gotta fight for them, and hope that you come out swinging with your favorite move each week. And we could get some analytics on which moves win, right? So if your company is more rock than scissor, that's a whole new level of psychological warfare to have to think about every Monday at your sales meeting. But yeah, good catch. I also was thinking this is the opposite would be true, right? Like in a support situation, you'd rock paper scissors in hopes that you don't get assigned any cases to have to manage. So play it both ways. But integration with Sales and Service Cloud coming soon. Asterisk around that. All right, let's see. What do we do here? We added our status. So let's come back. And as if I don't trust the layout to update, we just want to kind of see this all play through. Here we go. All right, so we got, imagine that there's a much more pleasant user experience around all of this. I've got two players who have made their moves. as indicated by the status and the fact that player move is populated. And now it's time for the game to decide, well, who won, right? So we need to track some state at the game level. We'll have a winner here, right? We'll have a status for each of those. I wonder, I think the data model and the reporting that we want to achieve may decide this. Is it useful to have a winner and a loser field explicitly on the game object for reporting purposes? We'll see. Maybe not. I think we can. What we do want though is some status field here on the game, so we know like what's the deal. So let's make another status here. I feel like the status is again like it's pending while we're waiting for each player to, or both players to make their move. So we can default to that again. And then I think it's let's see, what do you call it? Completed, right? Maybe completed means we have a winner. And then I think tie can also be an outcome because we tied. Maybe completed isn't the right word. I'll look up something better in the thesaurus for what that is. But something that says we have, we've determined a winner versus tie. Okay, so we'll throw that on the page layout and then just update our permission set to support that. Alright, so now we should have that on our game layout. So in this state, both of our players have played. I know there's a winner, but I'm gonna leave this at pending for the moment while we kind of noodle through. Well, what's the best way to determine victory here, right? The game knows the move of each player, and I would say we know the possible outcomes, right? So if I go look at my moves, player 1 played rock, and the system knows that rock wins when it's competing with scissors. It knows that it loses when it competes with paper. So we've got to get this outcome logic into the game somehow. Perhaps when maybe it's flow time, kids. Whenever a player move is made, we determine if have all plays been made in this game, and if so, update the status of the game, and then dip into the outcomes to determine what side is all of this falling on. So that's kind of interesting because let's see, I need a flow on player move, and it's gonna find all the moves, basically find the other move, right? Or find the other player, check their move, and then decide, who's winner and who's loser. So I think we're dipping into that next because that's kind of what we need. And then from there, that flow can run. That flow can run in system context. It doesn't expose anything. It's able to look behind the curtain and see, what's what. That is where the sharing could occur if we now need to open up the player move to the other player. So yeah, I'm standing here convincing myself that that's what we're going to do, so that's what we're what we're going to do. Before we do that, let's come back over here and pull all of the stuff that we got, so we can get it into our repo and not lose it. That's kind of important. I may or may not have lost some stuff on the Forceopoly project due to a scratch org expiration. I really hope not. I haven't been back in the logic side of Forceopoly in a couple of weeks to confirm if anything's missing, which is kind of a massive undertaking unto itself. So hopefully we're not doing any rework on future streams. Let's get this stuff into the repo before we forget. This is object model. I think we want everything here, safe to say. Did I get my permission sets? Yes, okay. Object model and security. Let's pick everything here. And let's push that up to the repo. Cool, we're all caught up. Let's make sure we're really all caught up. And yes, we are. Groovy. I probably uploaded some stuff that doesn't belong there, but I'll do some cleanup later. That's not the most fun to see on this thing to see on the string. Okay, let's build some flow while we have some time left. So like I said, I think this is a flow on player move, knowing that we've got some other stuff to build between here and there, but we know that we're destined for a player move record to be created on each of those player records. So let's do a record triggered flow. And that's going to be on our player move object. We're going to do that. My opinion is you can't take back your move, right? So you're going to be able to create, and maybe we have to do we'll do some permission around this. Like, I think you can create a player move and then you can never update it again, because as a player, that would be cheating. That would be like waiting for your buddy to like make his move, and like you see the split second he plays paper, and you come with rock, and you're like, oh no, I'm gonna change it to scissors. Like, no, that's not cool. Like we can't. The international body that governs rock paper scissors will certainly not abide by that. So we can't let that happen. Okay, so only when it's created. That was my whole point for that story, is I think we should only do this when it's created, because we will only ever be creating player move records. I think I might take that back, because it's possible that we need to scaffold some, or it's beneficial to scaffold some data when a game starts, because we're already like, here's a game, here's 2 player records. Should we create the player move records right then and there, or not? I'm going to say not, but that may have to change. And if it does, we'll come back and change this. We'll change this flow. The requirement conditions, none. I don't. Again, barring what I just described, I think this is going to fire. This is going to fire for any player move that gets created, and we're not going to do work on the player move. It simply tells us. It simply tells us the data that we need to go and look at, which is all the related stuff. So we want to do actions and related records here. So let's do that, and let's save this. I'm going to call this player move after created. Do a few things in here. I don't know if this will be complicated to the point of subflow land or not. Hopefully not. But if we got to, we will. So the record comes in. So boom. We'll fast forward now through what we just did in slow mo. Player 1 made their move. They picked rock. So that condition, player 2 hasn't played yet. So the first thing we need to do is, the first thing we need to do is have this thing saved. Come on, man, let's go. I want this to run in system context because I need this flow to be encapsulating the security, like punching through the security membrane. The security membrane, yeah. There's one you can take home, share with your friends and family. Actually, I think this is already running. Right, this is never mind. This is a record trigger, so it's already running in user context. I was thinking about a screen flow. Okay, so it needs to kind of pierce through the security model and do some logic. So we know the record in question. We know its game, but we don't know the players. So we want to get I'm going to say load other player. Right, that's really what we want to do first. So let's say get other player. This will be a player. We only ever have 2 players. That's just kind of the nature of the game. So I know the game coming in based on the record, the incoming record. So no. Come on. I wish it would. Hopefully. Yo! What is going on? It's going crazy. Did I make a lookup to game on the, let's check our player object. Yeah, it has a lookup to game. Is that just not activated in the permission set? Perhaps. It's kind of important. If I can't see that field, I can't do much. Because this is let's see. Oh, wait. No. I'm dumb. This is not player move. This is the incoming object is not player. It's not player, it's player move. So we need the records players game. That's what we want. We also don't want any players with the ID equal to this record. So let's not redundantly ask for the same record. So we should, by the rules of our system, only ever get 1 record back from this. And again, rock, paper, scissors. And for our rules right now is a game played between 2 players. So that's how we're going to keep it. All right, so we'll get 1 record back, and it will be, by this definition, all the players in that game who are not the player related to this current move. This is not what I want. I want to fix this. I want this to stop doing that flow. Come on. Oh my gosh. Why is scrolling so hard? We want the record player, not the record ID. There. Got it. Cool. Store all the fields. Yeah, good, great. And so that gets us the other player. Save before I forget. Okie dokie. So now we can get our other player, and now we can evaluate the status of that player. Technically, I probably could query for users. I'm sorry. for players with a status that's not pending. But I then have to do some null checks and stuff like that. I'd rather just like, let's just get the record out and then we can do a decision on what's the, other player status. And we'll say pending. I always copy the API name and slap it in front of the decision outcome. So from get other player status equals pending. And then it's played, right? Really, we just want played. Like, we're only going to take action if we're in the state of you just played. Because we really don't want... In fact, we probably want to put some guardrails up above the... No, the player move won't change. It's the player's status that's going to change. So, let's change this to played. Because if we've already... We're going to set down below the winner and the loser based on the outcomes data here. I'm going to save those player records. That's not going to trigger an update to the player move. So, yeah, we should be fine. Okay. This is what I do on the stream, ladies and gentlemen. Just talk to myself. You get the best answers. Okay, so if the other player played, we're going to do stuff. If the other player is still pending, we're not. If the other player is the winner, we're not. Because really the player move record should never be updated anyway, so it's really, one-shot deal here. First player to play, nothing's going to happen here. It's just going to go the other way. Well, I take that back. We should actually... we should change this to, let's see, it's pending by default, so we do need to mark, when a player move is played, it does need to be set as played if the other player's status is pending. So, is that right? Yes. Can I do that here? I think so. Yeah, because it's a related record. We're updating this. I get this whole player versus player move versus move thing is throwing me off. So we do want to check for another status. We want to say what about pending? So other player status pending. Move that up. So this is other player status pending. So that answers the condition of on player one. Player one and player two are both pending, and then player one plays. Player two is still pending. Other player in this case is player two. So if that player is still pending, I'm just going to set my player's status to play and do nothing else with that. So we're going to update. Our record. Let's say update update this player status. We are going to use, let's just do the fields ourselves. So the player, and we're going to set so the ID equals the player move. Oh, that's killing me. It won't let you type it. No. I have completely forgotten how to use a mouse tonight. Okay, that's cool. So when the ID equals the player moves player, the incoming record, we've evaluated the other player, they're still pending, so we're going to mark this status as played. And we're done. That's one outcome here. We have nothing else to do. Now, if I do come in here and see that the other player has played, so that would be the condition, I set this so when player 2 comes in, they get this condition, the played condition for the other player. Now we got to do work, right? So we want to, I feel like we need to get our outcomes no matter what. So we probably just want to load that. Well, I guess we don't need to load it right away. We can load it here, right? We can save ourselves some SOQL, and we'll get our outcomes here. So let's load outcomes because it's decision-making time, right? And we want outcomes. Right? Now we only know what each player played. So if I'm coming in, I've got a player move from player 2. They played scissors. I've got a player move from player 1. I have to load that because I don't know about that yet. So come back to that. But I have a player move from player 1, which I technically, I already have it. I can navigate through the. Wait, no, I can't because that's a many-to-many relationship. So we'll fix that. So I will have that data. I know the move that each player made, but I don't know what the outcomes are, right? So I think what I want to do is query outcomes where winner equals player 1, winner equals player 1's move, loser equals player 2's moves, or vice versa. Winner equals player 2's move, and loser equals player 1's move. Did I say that right? I think I did. And then I think if we query like that, we're only ever going to get one result back. Because the query would look like this, right? Select record from outcome where winner equals rock and loser equals scissors, or winner equals scissors and loser equals rock. Now that second one never happens. Our outcomes don't allow for that. So we're only going to get one record back, and that record is the outcome that we want to evaluate. That is the truth. So once I have that, I can say something like, all right, I've got that record. Now does winner equal rock? Does winner equal player's one? Does winning move equal player 1's move? If yes, they're the winner. Other one's the loser. If not, it's vice versa. So there's no ambiguity that I don't think. I think we boil that down pretty nicely. There's no ambiguity at that point as to, like, if you evaluate the first winning condition and it's false, then the other winning condition is true. So I think we got it. I think that's fairly elegant. And let's do that. Okay. So we're loading outcomes. So we want the outcome where winner, holy cow, why won't it work? Winner equals this player moves move. Loser equals something that I don't think we have yet, because we got other player. We didn't get other player. We don't have other player move yet, so we need to go get that. I'm going to save this as is, but we have to come back and fix this. So we'll hold on that. Get the other player, and so if the other player status is played, I need to load their move. load other player move. Okay. Player move. Game. No, just player. Just player equals load other player ID. That should only be run record, only the first record. So we've got that now. So now I can go back to my load outcomes. I want the winner equals the record, the incoming records move, and then the loser is what we just got from load other. Oh, you. I'm just going to scroll. Load other player move. Move. Okay. That's the first part. Now I want this logic to be 1 and 2, or what will be 3 and 4. So now we're going to reverse the logic. So now winner equals load other player move. Loser equals record move. There we go. I get both sides. I should only get one back. So I only want the first record. Again, the logic, even if we had a whole bunch of permutations of this, we would still have to indicate who wins and who loses. So I'm gonna call this done. I'm gonna save this before I forget. So now I should have the outcomes that I need. What did I do there? The load other player move get records element can cause performance issues. At runtime, the flow starts an interview for each record specified in the start element and stores each player move in the record. Check whether the load player move element is still necessary, or add a filter, so this is new, so that the element accesses only the player move in the record global var. Well, that's not, I don't think this is an issue. I think it was just getting hung up on the fact that we're querying another object like what we queried, but not the same one. So we're going to get rid of that, pretend like it didn't exist, or maybe I will regret not paying more attention to that, and we'll find out. Okay, we loaded our, so if the other player played, it's time to evaluate. So I get their move, I load the outcomes, and then I have to determine, who's the winner. So the decision point here is, I guess we'll call it evaluate winner, right? Or evaluate outcome. So our first condition is let's say incoming player wins. So that means the player associated with the record move. That's the winner there. So what's our condition there? If the if load outcomes winner equals the record player moves move, right? And we probably want to say, just to be really thorough, and the outcome from load outcomes loser equals the load other player moves move, right? So that means incoming player wins, and then I wish you could clone these, because I'm only going to change a couple of things here, and then it's like, then the other one is other player wins. So based on our evaluation, let's do the opposite. So let's see, load other player move, equals, well, let me keep my logic on the right side here. So this, we were evaluating the load outcomes winner equals other player move and load outcomes loser equals our records move. All right, so I've got two conditions there. So now, and I think I have all the records that I need. I have the what do I have? I have at least a reference to the player in question and the other player. I can get to both of those, and then I have yeah. So I think I can set everything here. So we're basically we're naming our winners here. So we want to update. Let's update winner. Update incoming player as winner. And we'll specify conditions. So this will be a player. We really don't want our players to have write access to the status. That would be bad. So I guess we'll have to take note of. I'm going to add that to the. Let's see. Users. So this is a kind of file under privacy, right? Users should not have write access to player.status. Otherwise, what's the point? They should never have that. The only condition where that's going to be modified is right here in this flow. So winner. So our player. This is our incoming. So I want my the ID of this is the record. The record's player, and their status is winner. Oh wait, don't do that here. We'll do that down below. The status is winner. Okay, there. And then I can copy this. And we'll paste that here. And we'll say update other player as loser. You know, what we don't have is our tie condition. So that I think we can evaluate further upstream, because we can just say if the incoming player and the other player are the same, it's a tie. So update other player as loser. That's a player where ID equals. That really should be load other player, not get other player, so my naming convention is consistent. Their status is loser. Okay, and then I can copy this again, paste it over here. I'll say update other player as winner. I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to go check my naming convention on this last one, because I don't know if I made the API name accurate. I did not. Okay, and then, so our other player is the winner, and then we can copy this one, and try to keep these things in order, so we'll update our incoming player as loser. Okay. So that covers all of that. That covers the wins and the loses. Load other player move, load outcomes. I think we need a new outcome that's, it's a tie, right? So that is when the player moves, move equals the load other player moves, move. Probably want to evaluate that first, right? So we want to check for a tie first, and then if it falls through that, then we're determining a winner. It's a little bit of a spend on SOQL if we run that here because we've already loaded our outcomes. I could technically evaluate the tie here. That would be a little bit more efficient. I'm okay burning a query to kind of keep all the logic here, but if we want to be good stewards of our governor limits, we would clean that up a little bit. All right, so if it's a tie, then we're just going to update both players as a tie. So let's paste this here. Update incoming player as tie. Okay, and then update other player as tie. Got it. And okay, got some logic going in there. Got a couple minutes left here in the stream. I want to say thank you to Mr. Gallon Cooler for hanging out today. We'll figure out how to follow you on the tweets or on the Twitches. That is done. And I will do a little testing for this off camera. Save us all some strife, and the next time we meet on Wednesday, we can bask in the glory of all of this working, because lo and behold, we now have, well, almost, we have the player side of the player level state determined based on this logic. We will need to do the game level state in addition to this. If we're in the tie column on the left hand side, we'll just update the game's status here as well. The incoming player, the winning and losing situations, again, I think we got to get to the point of looking at some data and seeing how reportable it is in this state versus do we have to bubble anything else up to the game level for more reporting information. But for now, that is the stream. It's 8 o'clock. At least over here on the East Coast, it's 8 o'clock. I'm hungry. I'm gonna go eat some food and play some video games with the kids and watch some maybe watch some HBO with my wife. So after playing video games with the kids. Thanks all for joining, hanging out. We do this Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays. Times adjust a little bit, but you can go to YCDTOSF or you can do that on Salesforce.com and check out you can see the schedule, you can see the projects, links to the repositories, links to YouTube playlists of everything that we've done so far, and check them out. Hopefully my voice isn't too annoying, and maybe it helps put you to sleep and or learn something as we go through these different projects. And who knows, we'll see what projects come along later, but our schedule for this at this point is Tuesday icon inventory, inefficient icon inventory. Wednesdays will be rock paper scissors while we get this thing figured out, and Thursdays is the monster Forsopoly. So we'll keep cranking on that one. Thanks. Take care. See you next time.